So welcome to week 1 of Accelerator, how to accelerate your business, profit and income, even in uncertain times, right? So from last week, we covered on last week, level 5 learning. Level 5 learning is you are learning from your soul. You're learning in your heart. When you're learning in your heart, then that is not going to go away from you because you know that stuff. Then you can take your business to the next level. So we talked about level 5 learning on the welcome webinar. And this is like the child who is absorbing everything into her heart, right? And then we talked about alignment. Once you are aligned, this Ferrari can take you to 250 miles per hour. But once these wheels are misaligned, no matter how powerful your Ferrari is, it's not going to go anywhere. That is a challenge. So that's what we are going to address today. And then we also talked about how to become a super adapter. How to adapt. How could you super adapt and adapt your business to a different level? So we talked about that. We talked about polar bears. Polar bears took 100,000 years to adapt to the new ice, snow environment. And probably for 90,000, 95,000 years, they were being killed by walrus and other animals that eat polar bears or bears. And then they couldn't survive. Your business should not be in that position. We need to adapt. We need to super adapt. We need to predict what is going to happen, and we need to adapt in advance. Then we talked about acclimation. Acclimation is the ability to, adapt to any new environment in a different level. The temperature goes up. We talked about the baby, right? And baby goes out, and when it goes outside of the house, and then after staying for 15-30 minutes, she will be able to adapt to that temperature. And then even without the outside jacket, she could stay in that. That's how we acclimate to the new environment. After we adapt, then we acclimate. Or it could be other way around too. And then we talked about mastering soul models. If you were not in the previous session, if you haven't listened to the welcome webinar yet, those who are listening online, soul models, go back and listen again. But if not, soul models are the bigger picture of how you see the world. It's a new perspective of how your soul sees the world. And if you master 51 soul models that I'm teaching in this 12-week training, 12-week experience, then you are a long way ahead of most human species who lived in this planet. And then we talked about the different deeper levels of Pareto's principle. It's not just 80-20. You could derive it like 2 or 3 levels deeper or 4 or 5 levels deeper. And then you could find out one thing out of thousands of things. One thing out of thousands of things that could take your business to the next level. We also talked about out of the 2,000 things that you should not be doing, there's one thing you could stop doing that could take your business to the next level. And finally, we talked about the pentagon model of your brain. There are 5 brains in your body. There is the prefrontal cortex, the top neocortex, prefrontal cortex part of your brain, which is in purple, and then the yellow part, which is the emotional limbic side of the brain, and then the red part, which is the brain stem and associate parts of the brain. And then there is a brain in front of your heart, and there is a brain in front of your gut. And we talked about that. And here is the thing, guys. Each brain wants a different outcome from any given situation, right? So if each of this brain wants something different than other brains, then we are in an internal chaos all the time, right? So in order to solve that, we are going to apply different strategies today. And the first thing that we do, we are going to practice something called soul breathing, right? And keep in mind, these different outcomes in a given situation are stored, or different needs in different situations is creating an inner conflict in us all the time. And that is saved as shadows into our identity. And I'm going to explain what shadows are in a second. So here's how you do the soul breathing. Okay, so imagine that there is air coming from your forehead. So imagine instead of breathing through your mouth, you're breathing through your forehead. Okay, so do it right now. Breathe through your forehead into your heart. Okay, breathe through your forehead into your heart. And breathe out through your forehead. So imagine like those who are familiar with the concept of 5 brains, keep in mind, we have 3 brains here, and then there is a heart brain, then there is a gut brain. So you are already breathing through this 4 brains already right now, right? So breathe through your forehead all the way to your heart. And breathe out through your forehead. Okay, so that's it. It's very simple, right? So let's take it to the next level, which is breathe through your forehead all the way to your gut. So imagine through your forehead, you're breathing through your brain, and it is going to your heart, and it's all the way going to your gut. Okay, so do it now. And breathe out through your forehead. Okay, so again, breathe in through your forehead, through your limbic system, through your brain stem, through your heart brain, to your gut brain. So you're breathing all the way down to the deepest of your brain. Okay. Okay, everybody with me so far? Please type something to make sure that you are with me so far. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so what you're doing, there are 2 things that you're doing. 1, you're breathing through your forehead all the way to your heart, number 1. Number 2 is you're breathing through your forehead all the way to your gut. Okay, 2 things. Now, I'm going to make it a little bit more challenging and exciting for you. Okay, we're learning something else now. Like focus, pay attention to something in front of you. Maybe it's your webcam or something that is sharp and something that you could pay attention to for some time. So focus on that, pay attention to something in front of you, and expand your peripheral vision. Expand your peripheral vision. So what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is when you're scared, like you just start focusing only on one thing in front of us. And you biologically, because of our evolution, our physical tendency is to focus on something that is right in front of us. We lose the focus of whatever is happening around us. Yeah. So what we are going to do is we are expanding that. So focus on something and then expand your peripheral vision, as in you passively see the side. Okay, so you're seeing it passively. You're seeing it passively. Imagine you could see your hand. So I'm showing you only one hand. Imagine you could see this hand, okay, passively while you're looking there, okay? Yeah, and imagine like you could go all the way back and you could see all the way behind you. Like Bruce Lee had this skill of like seeing all the way back. Somebody was behind him, he could actually see them in a sense, in their mind, his mind, he could actually feel that. That's how he was able to attack people. If somebody attacked from back, he could, many people who are like really advanced in martial arts have this. So look at this again, okay? Focus on something and then expand your vision. And if it is easier for you, move your fingers. Like, so this way you could actually focus on it passively, yeah? Okay, so do that, yeah, good. Okay, everybody with me so far? Okay, you love Bruce Lee? Okay, awesome. So now what you're gonna do is, you're going to do the breathing into your heart. And while you are in the heart, you will focus on something and expand your vision at the same time. Okay? So again, you will breathe into your heart. I'll do it with you. Breathe into your heart. Keep your eyes open, focus somewhere, and then expand your vision at the same time. Yeah? Keep expanding it, keep expanding it, keep expanding it, and bring it all the way down. And then breathe out from your heart. So you breathe in and you're going to hold for a few seconds. That's when you're going to expand. So breathe into your heart. Expand your peripheral vision. And bring it back. And breathe out through your forehead. Okay. Next time, what you're going to do, same thing, right? You're actually doing it in your gut. So you're breathing from your forehead into your gut. And expand your peripheral vision at the gut level. And expand it. Imagine, if you want to close your eyes and imagine you are expanding your peripheral vision all the way to the back. And as you're breathing out, you can bring it back and start breathing out through the forehead. Okay. This is how you do the soul breathing. And what happens is all your 5 brains are aligned. You feel like a tremendous level of calmness in your body. So now let's get into the next step. There are 3 soul models that I'm going to talk about today. 1, only 20% of the things in business goes the way you planned. And Dr. Venus, Nikki, and people who are in business for a long time, we know this already, right? Rest of them are your biggest teachers. What does that mean? It means that there are no failures in business. There are only 20% things going the way you want, and the 80% of the things are going to teach you the best. So if you are failing per se, then what is going to happen is it's going to teach you big time. So 80% of the time, it's going to be teaching. But let's not call it failure anymore, because 20% of the time, you're getting what you want and make them like really big success for you. And then the other ones, let them teach you to be even more successful. That is a soul model I want you to absorb today. No matter what part of the world you are, because I have people from Middle East and India and Canada and US listening to this, and many more parts of the world, understand that 20% of the things in business goes the way you planned. Rest of them are your biggest teachers. So let's not have the vocabulary failure in our language anymore. There is no failure. 20% of the things work, 80% are your biggest teachers. So soul model number 4. So we already covered 2 soul models in the previous session. Your self-alignment is the number 1 key to creating the biggest impact in the world. So that's what we're going to do today. So your self-alignment, your alignment with yourself is the most important thing that you could do to scale your business, to create the biggest impact in the world. And that's what we're going to do today. And we are going to spend plenty of time doing that. And soul model number 5 is one of the biggest forces in human psychology is to be consistent with how they define themselves, their own identity. So if we define ourselves as a person who's hardworking, we will do hard work. If you define ourselves as a person who's lazy, we will be lazy. If we define ourselves as a person who's angry, then we will be angry. So we will always be consistent with who we define ourselves as. That is soul model number 5. And finally, soul model number 6, God's plan for you is far more beyond your wildest dream. Imagine you're the wildest of the wildest of the wildest dream that you had. God is seeing you bigger than that. Oftentimes we try to limit our gods, whatever gods we believe in, or nature or universe, whatever you call this higher force than you. That higher force sees you way bigger than who you see yourself as right now. God sees you as a Martin Luther King, as a Gandhi, as a Churchill, as somebody who could transform the world and take it to the next level. But oftentimes we don't see that. And my invitation for you today is to start seeing yourself as the best of the best of the best of the best. But even if you do that, God will be seeing you, universe will be seeing you, nature will be seeing you bigger than your wildest dreams. Okay? So that's our soul models. We talk about alignment. So here's the shocking thing, guys. The more people learn, the more confused they become. So the technical word is, the more people learn, the more fucked up they become. That's a technical word. It's an unfortunate thing. The more people learn, the more confused people are. Philosophers are confused. Like you read about any philosophers are born to be confused. Why? Why is this? Because your shadows are getting personal development. Your shadows are getting personal development. And if you don't know what shadow is, you're going to know everything that you need to know by end of this session, but your shadows are getting personal development with your light. The darker side of you is learning how to manipulate you, the light side of you. So you are going for this event and doing all the stuff, and you're reading the books and all the stuff. The darker side is learning that too. It learns how to manipulate you beyond those things. This is why when we start doing some personal development, all of a sudden it starts working. But after some time, it gets more and more confusing because your shadow is getting personal development. Understand that point, put that into your head, even if you don't understand what shadow is. With simple words, shadows are the darker side of you. But if you have a level 5 understanding about alignment, and if you could align yourself, then the world is yours. You could grow your business to any level we want. But if you don't know this and you are not aligned, then you're stuck. No matter what you do, your mind will figure out a way to manipulate you and fail, and tell you you're not good enough, tell you that you are not smart enough, tell you that you're not worthy of this relationship, or tell you you're not worthy of having this kind of money. You're not worthy of having XYZ. You are not good enough. You will not be accepted. That's what the mind is going to do. Again, why is this happening? Because there are 5 brains playing into this. There is the neocortex, there is the limbic system, there is the brainstem, there is a heart brain, and the gut brain. And think about this. Imagine the neocortex, which is the top arrow on the top, always wants success. Always want, oh, okay, yeah, I'm really ready for it. The emotional brain is like, I don't know, maybe. Maybe I want it, maybe I don't want it. And the brain stem could be like, give me some food, give me some food. Let me watch Netflix. Let me watch Hulu. That's what I should be doing right now. Why should I study this stuff? Why should I work on myself? Why should I do this? Why should I do that? And now the heart brain is saying, oh yeah, for sure. I would love to transform the world. And the gut brain is saying, give me some food so I could feel good. I'm too stressed right now. I'm too stressed. Give me some food. Do you see what is going on here? And because of this conflict, it is saved as light and shadows into our identity. Because one part of us want to succeed. One part of us want to fail. One part of us feels good when we fail. One part of us feels so great when we succeed. And 2 parts are fighting each other and figure out a way to make you stay still. It's a fabulous quote from Carl Jung. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making darkness conscious. And that is exactly what we are doing today. Let me give you an example of what shadow is in a simple way. Imagine you are pushing a basketball into water. The more you push, the more resistance it's going to give you. The more you use the most of your strength to push it down, it's going to push you back 3 times. The stronger you are, you're going to push more and you're going to get more tired faster than other people. Shadows are exactly like that. These are the darker side of it. The darker side of us, the angry, the hate, the darker side of us that we deny, that we don't want to own. We want to disown that. Oh, no, I'm a spiritual person. I am so good with people. I'm so loving and kind and everything. And then we kind of ignore the darker side of us. And we pretend to be we have a combination of, genuine or half genuine or fully fake, depending on the situation. And I'm going to explain further, but everybody understand what shadow is so far? Yeah? Yeah, beautiful. Awesome. Okay, so now, so that pretending is not going to get us anywhere. So we are going to own this stuff starting today. But here's another thing. Debbie Ford, and some of you guys know who Debbie Ford is. She had some advanced work on shadows. She said, you must go into the dark in order to bring forth your light. Think about that. In order for us to bring the deepest of our light, we need to go deep into your dark and find that and overcome that and integrate that into your identity. And that's what we are going today. That's why I invited you to be part of this today, being able to take your shadow and move it to light today. And before I get into actually doing it, I need to define what mind is. This is a word that I use a lot. So when I'm using the word mind, I'm referring to a process that controls the flow of information and energy. So a mind is a process that you created that controls the flow of information and energy. A process that controls the flow of information. So information is coming into your head. It's going out of your head. Information could be emotions. Information could be other people talking to you. you are listening to somebody, or you are talking to somebody, or information could be food, like you're processing food, right? It is an information. It could be reading, reading news, more data, like virus or tragedy, crisis, or excitement or happiness. It could be all information, yeah? Or energy coming into your body and energy leaving your body. For example, it could be heat energy, electromagnetic energy, radio energy, or or light energy, or it could be psychic energy, or it could be any type of energy that is coming into your body and coming out of your body. So mind is a process that controls the flow of information and energy. Everybody with me so far? Okay, Dr. V says, Debbie Ford did a human race a great service with her work. Yeah, she's amazing. I had the opportunity to meet with her. Awesome. So you are co-creating a mind at any given time. So right now, at this moment, you are co-creating a mind. So you are working with your creator who gave you this consciousness, and you are creating with the creator this mind that you have. You created this mind, and you could change it anytime you want. Especially when people say, I lost my mind. That's what they were talking about. No, they lost it actually, literally. Okay, so you are co-creating your mind. And that's what we're going to do today. Isn't that exciting? Awesome. So alignment. So here's the thing. Each part of you has its own identity. So listen to this sentence, identity. Each part of you has its own identity and agenda and direction. This is the most fascinating thing. See, if you get deep into psychology and understand multiple personality disorder and things like that, you would start to realize that people internally have this different identities. And I'm going to explain it with my dog, Buddy, who loves Buddy. And I know people from the eastern side, they're like, you have dogs? No, we just beat them up. No, I'm kidding. But the point is, his name is Buddy. Buddy is, thank you. Buddy is like 3 years old now, and he's the only dog in my district who understand people with an Indian accent. He doesn't understand white people or black people. He understands only Indian accent. So that's the Buddy with an Indian accent listener. Okay, so he could actually talk to customer service people and understand what they're talking about. Okay, if you need any help, let me know. He will get you to the Indian customer service person you're talking to. But on all seriousness, I have 4 members in my family: my wife Nisha, my son Rugilio, my daughter Fiona, and me. Buddy behaves differently with each person. He behaves in a certain way with my son, in a certain way with my daughter, in a certain way with my wife, and in a certain way with me. So a dog has 4 identities that he calibrates to adapt to other species. Does that make sense? Isn't that fascinating? That a dog can have multiple personalities, attributes, behaviors, values, beliefs, or whatever they have to calibrate to each person, because he knows each of us and he knows how to behave with each of these people. How about you in your romantic relationship? Right? For example, when you go to office, you're like, oh my gosh, so professional and so nice, the nicest guy in the whole world. Nicest guy in the whole world. Oh my gosh, he's super cool. And he goes home and he's the rudest person to his wife or husband. Or office, he's a complete jerk. But when he goes home, he's the nicest kid, the nicest parent, nicest dad ever. And you often hear about, like, for example, 9/11 happened or something major like terrorist attack or something happened. All of a sudden you hear a neighbor saying, oh, this guy was so nice. He was so good. He was the best guy. We were going to give him an award for the best neighbor in this whole community. And then he had a darker side of him. Does that make sense now? And we all have the darker side of us. And that's how we have a part of us wanting to go into one direction, a part of us are confused, and part of us want to go back to exactly the opposite direction we want to, no matter what we do. And I'm going to give you more examples on this. But here's the thing, guys. No one, and I'm going to say this again, no one can help someone who's not aligned with themselves, their desires, and the world around them. Let me tell you the opposite. No one can stop someone who's aligned. And that's my invitation for you today. Once you're aligned, no one can stop you from moving forward. And here's one of my favorite quotes from Carl Jung. Where wisdom reigns, there is no conflict between thinking and feeling. Where wisdom reigns, there is no conflict between thinking and feeling. The neocortex, the limbic system, the brainstem, the heart, and the gut comes in alignment to create this. Now you're unstoppable. Now you're Gandhi. Now you're Martin Luther King. Now God, universe, is looking at you and saying, oh my gosh. I don't know whether God says, oh my gosh, but I have to ask him or her when I meet her. But here's the thing. God is like super happy that you are in full alignment. Now it feels that, you are closer to God's dream for you. Imagine a dad or a mom who really, really loves you so much and he wants to see the best of you. And you are here. You are here, in lack of alignment. And then when God sees you in full alignment, he is excited in full joy and say that, oh, finally, he is coming to my perspective, the way I see her, I see him. Now your Ferrari is ready to run. Now your Ferrari can drive in 256 or 280 miles, as long as you know how to drive. I'm an Asian driver. We're technically Asian drivers, Yeah, Nikki's saying God is Shiva and Shakti. I love that metaphor. Yeah, the masculine and feminine. God is, the masculine and the feminine. So here's the beautiful thing, guys. Even if you're an Asian driver like me, you could still drive the Ferrari at 250 miles per hour. So here's the thing, guys. This is a quote from Bernard Shaw. Life isn't about finding yourself. Most people are trying to find their life. Life is about creating yourself. You create this life. You create this destiny. You create, you create that. You create the life. You create the identity that you want and create the destiny that you want. And that's what the higher power wants from you. Yeah. Let me give you another example. You start diet plan. It's like me starting diet plan. I'm 30, 40, 50 pounds overweight. And my mind is like, oh, my conceptual brain is like, oh, I'm too fat. My emotional brain is like starting to feel shame. Oh, what are my grandma from India who always asks me, oh, why are you so fat? What is she going to think about it? But, my brain stem is like temporarily, it's like, okay, if you have that kind of pain and, if you think that you're not going to get sex anymore, then yeah, probably I want sex, and if I'm going to lose that, then I'm on board too, and it's okay. Now, the entire brain is aligned. The heart is always willing. The gut brain is like, okay, you are saying that I'm going to have some oxytocin, or oxytocin is a neurotransmitter that makes you feel good, or some other pleasure, dopamine and other stuff. If I get rid of this food habits, yeah, for sure. Let's go for dieting. And all of a sudden, we are on this journey to lose weight. We are so excited. This is day one. And now you're practically fasting. You're eating like the most admirable, spinach and arugula, or, kale, the bok choy. And by the time it's afternoon, and then it's next day, and you're like, okay, figured out a way. Second day, you kind of figured out, okay, fine. You started eating some other stuff. You're like, fruits are good. But honey is actually really good. Honey is actually really good because it's basically vegetarian. It's from a bird. It's from an insect. So it should be okay. You could start honey, and then you start, okay, sugar. I know there are problems with the sugar, but they were talking about high fructose corn syrup. Regular sugar is fine. And then on day 3, you come back to this. How many of you understand? How many of you feel? How many of you have done that like this? Like, if you have done like this, put that in the comment. And if you're listening to this online, put your comment somewhere, like, below the video or somewhere, or write it down. I have done this. Yeah. Why? What happened? Your conceptual brain is like still, oh, I just still want to lose weight, and I want to be happy, and I want to have a magnificent life. And the emotional brain is like, I can't fucking do this, And the brainstem is like, give me food. There is a fridge. There is a fridge, and there are stuff in the fridge, and then the freezer has a fruit. Give me some food. I cannot survive. This is not what I signed up for. Yeah. And when you're stressful, it increases significantly more. Thanks, Lisa, for that. Yeah, when we are going through a corona type crisis, as we're recording this, we are going through a crisis. And when we are in crisis, this activates even more. And the gut brain is saying, I want some, and I talked about like 60% of your dopamine is in your gut. And significant part of your, serotonin, 90% of serotonin is in your gut too. So your gut is like, if you want to feel good, there's a way. You could eat some sugar, and at least for like 3.5 minutes, 3 minutes and 53 seconds, you will feel good. And you just eat one thing, and then another thing, and another thing, and all of a sudden you are eating like me, like at 12 midnight, finishing one full, like 12 slices of cookie. Like 5 minutes, and you feel like, oh my gosh, tomorrow I'm going to diet again. Tomorrow I'm going to start again, right? Tomorrow it's going to be a big deal. Tomorrow I'm going to transform the whole thing. And from tomorrow, I'm going to have a 6-pack in 1 year. But today, I'm going to get this going. This is how shadow works, guys. Yeah? Everybody with me so far? Put that in your comment if you understand what I'm talking about. Awesome. Awesome. All right, so I talked about, on the welcome video, I talked about the time I was living like I was in 12th century, like being a Puritan, wanting to be a monk, like standing on like raw glass, I will break glass pieces and then kneel down on that and pray for like hours. I don't know hours, at least like 30, 45 minutes. And I remember, and I told you in the last welcome webinar too, like when I stand up from that, I would actually literally bleed, and I will have blood all the way to my foot. Right? And I did like multiple things like this without spending a lot of time. At the time when I wanted to be a monk, do you think I could do business where I believe that like this body, this thoughts, or anything that I have, it's sin? And because anything that I have is sin, money is sin. And how could the screwed up rich people make a profit when they're selling something? That's what I was thinking. Do you think I will make money in that inherent conflict? Yeah, makes sense? No way, because I cannot make money. I was so broke. You know what? I was so broke, I figured out the number that I need to spend so that I could get enough cash back to pay for my minimum balance. And those who are in the US will understand what I'm talking about, or Canada. So I figured out a way to find that money. But here's the thing, guys. Only human can align their shadows. And this is the highest level of personal development. And if you have been to any of the personal development teachers anywhere in the world, and I could promise you that I have been to all of them, and I have been to all of them and beyond. This is the highest level of personal development. When you're able to align your freaking shadow, then you are completely aligned with God. And only humans can do this. Like, can you imagine a lion going for therapy and saying, oh, thank you for listening to me yesterday. And I'm able to find my calm self. My dad was a screamer. So I picked up this anger from him. And now I'm working on my anger. It doesn't happen for a lion. Only humans can do this. Yeah? Everybody with me so far? This is a Canadian geese. And a teenager Canadian goose is not going to tell his dad, I'm just being with my girlfriend for the last 2 weeks. I would rather not travel for this summer. I would rather stay in Toronto or somewhere in Canada. I don't want to go. I just want to stay there. I just want to stay here with my girlfriend. I want to spend enough time with her. They cannot do that. Only humans can do this. All right. So how do we move forward? Okay. So with all this, we have created a success prevention department. So in our psychology, in our deeper mind, we have created a success prevention department. So what we're going to do right now is an advanced way of handling the situation. And I'm going to do this intervention right now with you right now, as of now. And thank you, each of you. And so what we're going to do is something that will help you align and fire the success prevention department. So use your hands, use your hands, and imagine on your left side of your hand is the success prevention department. Right? So this is a success prevention department. This department's job is to help you fail. Okay. And now ask this person, imagine that this is a person. Yeah. Ask this person, why do you want me to fail? So your left hand, raise your left hand up and ask this hand. Imagine this is your success prevention department. Ask your hand, why do you want me to fail? And wait for answer. Different people might be getting different answers. And look for your answer. If you're listening online, write down your answer. What is she telling you? What is he telling you? Yeah? You got an answer? Okay. Now, use your right hand. Use your right hand. This is a success department. This is the one that wants you to be the Martin Luther King, the Gandhi, the Steve Jobs, the Elon Musk of this world. Ask him or her, why do you want me to be successful? Why do you want me to be successful? Make a note of that in your mind. Write it down if you need to. And now, ask them to talk to each other. So now, the success prevention department is going to talk to the success, acceleration department. Let's have a conversation with each other. And ask the success prevention department, I want to impact the world in whatever way you want to impact the world. How can you help me? How can you help me? Ask the success prevention department. I want to impact the world. I don't want to stay here. So if I'm doing like 7-figure business already, I want to grow to 8 figures. If I'm doing 8-figure business already, I want to do multiple 8 figures or more. Like, how can you help me to move to the next level? And the success prevention department might be saying something to you. And tell her, thank you. Thank you for your existence. Thank you for protecting me from failures, because all you have been trying to do probably was trying to protect me from failure. So tell her thank you. Thank you for all that you have done all these years. And talk to the success acceleration department and tell him or her, thank you for your existence too. I know I was not supporting you all the way. Whenever you wanted me to succeed, I kind of stepped back. But you know what? I am going to be ready. I am going to be ready from now on. I am going to take my life to the next level. You know why? Because you guys are going to work together. So ask them to figure out a way to work together. And as you bring your hands closer to each other, ask them to figure out a way to work with each other. Tell them, both of you have only one intention, is to support my mission. And you know what? You guys are going to be my advisors from now on. But the reality is, I'm not going to listen to neither of you. Because I, Dr. V, I, Joe, I, James, I, Francis, I, Chris, I, Bhavna, Abhay, I, Melvin, and if you are listening online, say your name, are going to be in charge. And as you say this, bring these hands together with the right hand above the left hand, the right palm above the left palm. And then tell them to work together. And tell them, I'm going to respect each of you. I'm going to listen to each of you, but I'm going to do the right thing that I think is important. I'll listen to both of you, but you guys will not dictate what I'm going to do. I will decide what I want to do because I'm aligned with the universe. I'm aligned with God. So with that, bring your palms closer to your heart, closer to your heart. As you bring closer to your heart, imagine that all the part of you that didn't want you to succeed, it was trying to protect you from some sort of failure. But there is no failure. The soul model says there's no failure. There are 20% of success and 80% of teaching. And we are ready for teaching. And we are okay with being taught. And we are excited for that 20% success. And with that excitement, bring those both hands together into your heart and place it into your heart and drop it into your heart and tell them, you guys, from now on, you guys are in my director board. And I thank each of you for everything that you have done for the last 19 years for all the females and for 70 years for all the males. I'm kidding, but you got the point. So tell them thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything that you have done. Because I was running in autopilot all this time. You guys were running me. But from now on, I'm going to be running this show. You guys are going to be my advisors. I'm going to ask you, hey, Success Prevention Department, what's your opinion on this? Hey, Success Acceleration Department, what is your opinion on that? And I'm going to take my life, my business to the next level as of right now, starting today. And bring that excitement, come into your body, in every cell of your body, and start getting ready to impact the world in a much bigger way. And whenever you feel like opening your eyes or closing your eyes or coming back to the video, you can. In this, I'm going to talk about breakthrough alignment, guys. So this is like, in that first step, we're going to talk about next level identity declaration. Let me explain what I mean by that. Your identity is what you currently remember about yourself. Think about it. Your identity is nothing but what you remember about yourself. What you believe about yourself. This is what you believe about yourself. This is your self-belief. This is who you are. Like somebody asks you, who are you? You're going to tell them what you remember about yourself. Imagine you had an amnesia and you forgot everything about your past. You'll be like, I don't know. I don't know who I am. Anybody watch the movie Who Am I by Jackie Chan? It's a beautiful movie, and he forgets like who I am. And then the movie is called Who I Am. And then he forgets who he is. And then he had to be reminded. So what you remember about yourself is your identity. What you believe about yourself is your identity. And how do you demonstrate that? The words that you use to describe yourself is how you identify your own identity. Okay, so now in a piece of paper, write down what are the 5 words that describe you today. And those who are listening online, download the assignment and pause the video, download the assignment, and use that to write down the 5 words that describe you. So let me give you an example. Loving, humorous, caring, giving, passionate. What are the 5 words that describe you? Write it down right now. Pause the video and write it down right now. Okay. So what is this person's name? Name this person. Like imagine this person has a name, like a nickname. Possibly it is not. Okay, some people are writing it in the chat itself. Powerful, caring, loving, free, lots of untapped potential. Yeah. So what is this person's name for right now? Like, just name something other than your name. Like, name this person. The person who is, loving, persistent, optimistic, passionate, and giving. For Richard, name that person. Now, what are the 5 words that describe you in 10 years from now? What are the 5 words that describe you that you want to be described by 10 years from now? And if you're writing that down, you can share that on the chat too, those who are listening online. 10 years from now, who do you want to be described as? And if you want to go further, you could do 50 years from now. What are the 5 words you want people to describe you 10 years from now? Entrepreneurs. I mean, I see some comments. Entrepreneurs, people who are attending live from Harish. Entrepreneur, always positive, quick learner, passionate. 10 years from now, these are the words that you want to describe you. You want somebody to describe you as. So this is example: successful, business magnet, powerful, giving, passionate. Yeah. Now, if you are able to focus on this identity, just by focusing on this identity for the next 90 days, you could get into alignment. But before that, what is this person? What is this person's name? 10 years from now, you could probably name this person your own name. If it's Harish, you could name yourself Harish or Richard or James or Dr. V. What is this person's name? Name your own, potentially name this person your own name, or the best name that you love. Name that person. And just by remembering, because that's how memory works, remembering that this is who you are for the next 90 days, you could be aligned. And I'm going to take you to the next notch in a second. But before that, you could be aligned just by doing this, by creating an identity declaration. For example, if you're Joe, God's favorite. Okay, beautiful. I love that. Let's say if your name is Joe, the future identity's name is Joe, you could say, I am the Joe of passion, love, compassion, success, and fulfillment. Make sense? Create this identity declaration and start saying that starting today. This is who you are. Now get the best of like who you are right now and who you are 10 years from now. Bring those words and pick the best 5 words from who you are today and who you are aspiring to become 10 years from now. Bring the best of the 5 words and create this identity declaration. Yeah? Create that. Create that right now. Create it as a statement. I'm the Harish, the entrepreneur, the always positive, the quick learner, and the passionate. Right? So find that identity and create a declaration. Right? And start saying that declaration for the next 90 days until you start to believe, you start to identify, you start to remember using these words, this is who you are. And it doesn't stop there. In this, I am going to cover how to integrate your super shadows within minutes. So you don't need a lifetime to do that. So here's the thing, guys. The super shadows are messing up your head. It is confusing your brain, and it is misaligning you so that you don't move forward. We have unlimited potential, just like James said. We all know that we have unlimited potential. If not, that is something that you need to start believing in a few seconds. And if you have unlimited potential, the only reason that is stopping us from being our best and becoming our own version of Mother Teresa or Martin Luther King or Gandhi, that is stopping us is the misalignment because of shadows. Right? That's what we're going to solve today. For that, it's very simple. What are the 5 words that you never ever want to be described by? What are the 5 words that you never ever want to be described by? Write them down right now. What are the 5 words that you never ever want to be described by? Example, hypocrite, liar, hater. Hypocrite was a big one for me and big one for people who are, especially people who are slightly known or famous and stuff like that. Liar, hater, arrogant, selfish. So what are the words you don't want? You don't want anybody describing you using those words. So write them down. What are the 5 words? If you're watching the video, pause now and write the 5 words that you never, ever want anybody to describe you by. Okay, put that in the comment. If you are able to, if you have written at least 1 or 2 words like that, please write down in your comment. These are your shadow identities. These are the things that you have been resisting in your entire life, probably. Right? These are your things that your parents said, oh, you're too lazy. You are so angry. You know, you hate. You did something. You're stupid. And then all this life, you have been pretending and acting and doing everything, getting like degrees and PhDs and everything else so that you don't feel stupid. Somebody pushed that into your identity, into your shadow. Yeah, to avoid being a loser or weak, you have been working hard for like decades now, probably, to avoid these things. But what if you are already strong for the person who said he's weak? I mean, the shadow is weak. The person who has shadow as loser, what if he's already successful? And we're going to get into that in a second. But before that, there's another way to verify this. Okay, who are the 3 people whom you hate the most from your life, history, or anywhere? So think about the 3 people that you hate the most from your life, from history, or anywhere. Right? For example, it could be Hitler, Stalin, Matthew, some random guy called Matthew, or your girlfriend, boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, ex-husband, husband. I don't know what is husband, but you know, you got the idea. Probably this is the new husband who's going to show up. But you got the idea. Who are the 3 people that you hate the most? Oh my gosh, I cannot stand this guy. This guy he drives me nuts. I lose my mind if I stand with her. Who are those 3 people? For each of this person, Jimmy Carter, Donald, left wing. It's okay. Some people have like different views. Okay. So for each of this person, write down what word would you use to describe this person. So let me give you an example. For Hitler, if you write hypocrite, apathetic, hater. So these are the words. For example, I'm not saying that Hitler could not have been like this, but the point is, if you wrote this particular person, I mean, I'm seeing like very technical words in my messages, so please continue writing them down. So for this person, like, what are the words that you would describe this person with? Like the 3 people that you hate, what are the 3 words that you would use to describe this person? Yeah? Write them down right now. Now look for similarities with your shadows and the words that you use to describe the people that you hate. For example, in my example, my shadows: hypocrite, liar, hater, arrogant, selfish. And in Hitler, I see hypocrite, apathetic, and hater. So if you see any commonality, some of you guys would see this commonality. And if you see a commonality between your shadow and the shadow and the words that you describe, these people that you hate the most, if there is a commonality, I call them a super shadow. Make sense? So what are the similarities? So my shadow, Hitler, hypocrite, super shadow. So in this case, the super shadows are hypocrite and hater. Everybody with me so far? I know this is advanced stuff, but this is it. You got it. Okay. So my shadows, the shadow of the people that you hate and the words that you would use to describe them, and super shadows are the commonality, the intersection of these 2 lists. And if you have anything like that, pay attention to that really close. Those are called super shadows. Now, look at your shadows. Okay, the teaching is done. We are going to do this intervention, and it's going to be amazing. And we are going to get it done in very short minutes. Okay, so rate emotional intensity from 1 to 10 for each of the shadows or super shadows. And if you have super shadows, just pick them. And 1 means no emotion, and 10 means like a lot of deep emotion associated with this particular shadow. Write them down. So 10 is like you feel horrible about this thing. If somebody describes you a hypocrite, oh my gosh, you would take a knife and stab them probably. Do you understand what I mean? If 1 more person say I'm a hater, you know what? Oh, I cannot stand it. You understand what I mean? So that's what I'm talking about. So find the emotional intensity for each of these shadows or super shadows. And I'm looking for your shadows. And if there is commonality between your shadows and the people that you hate the most, then collect them into your shadows and write the emotional intensity of each of them. If you have a 10 intensity for one of them, pick that. And pick the one with the deepest level of emotional intensity and pick that and let me know in the chat. Okay, so I'm seeing in the chat. Yeah, I'm seeing in the chat. Okay, thank you. Multiple people are sending me private messages. Yeah, you could send me privately, a group anywhere, but the point, you got it, right? So pick the one with the highest emotional intensity. If you have a super shadow, then that will be your best one, okay? Let's say avoid being hypocrite is your super shadow, just like me. This was mine, okay? So what is the opposite of that? What is the opposite of that? Genuine, right? So trying to be genuine is the most important thing, right? So what is the opposite of being hypocrite? Is genuine, yeah? So find out the opposite of your super shadow, the one that has the deepest of the emotions for you, deepest emotional intensity for you. Find the opposite of that, okay? And yeah, we will be done in like less than 5 minutes. Okay, so I would like you to pay attention and be fully focused right now. Find the opposite of this. Okay, failure. One person says failure. So in that case, the opposite of shadow is success. Okay, so I'm seeing private messages from different people here. Truthful, honest, real, skillful is opposite. I'm seeing. Okay, so if that is skillful, all this time you were never reminded about your honesty, realness, and truthfulness, and skillfulness, and your success by your subconscious, because your subconscious, blocked, had a blind spot with these shadows. It was never seeing you as skillful. You are skillful. No matter how skillful you become, your subconscious will be like, oh my gosh, you're not skillful. You're incompetent. Or you're trying to avoid incompetence. Does that make sense? So that's how you change it. So find the opposite of hypocrite. So in this case, the opposite of hypocrite is genuine. So in that case, we're going to do this in 3 minutes. But before that, how has this shadow helped you? How has this shadow served you in the past? And start giving a lot of love to this shadow. Yeah? Start giving a lot of love. So whatever the shadow that you picked, hypocrisy, and for me it was like, oh, you are a hypocrite. Sometimes you do this stuff and say this stuff and it's confusing. And then tell your mind, tell your soul that, you know what, thank you for keeping this shadow. Thank you for this shadow serving me for the last 30, 40, 50 years. Yeah. After you thank the shadow, is there anything that you need to learn from this shadow? Is there anything that you need to learn from this shadow? Take that learning. Loser versus winner. Thank you. So if winner, so in that case, find 3 instances from your life that you are totally successful. If loser versus winner was your thing, in my case, it was genuine. So find 3 instances from your life. One probably from before you're 10 years old, one probably from 10 to 30, and one probably from the current age. 3 instances that you are totally genuine. So in your case, it could be success, and I'm seeing skillful, I'm seeing honest, I'm seeing truthful, I'm seeing other stuff like victory, and I'm seeing genius, right? So I'm seeing many of these options, and find 3 instances where you are totally that particular person. Yeah. There are so many instances, but you are not able to see that because your mind was blocking you from seeing that. And after working with dozens of people on this, there will be dozens and dozens of them, but you're not seeing them because somebody forced you to stop seeing that. So find them and write them down right now. Yeah. And I'm going to skip. If you're watching this online, pause it and write it down, and then you continue. Now create a movie of your life that includes this genuine you that you co-create right now. So imagine, create a movie in which you are doing this genuine thing. You are doing this thing that was skillful, You're doing this thing that was honest. You're doing this thing that was truthful. You're doing this thing that made you really successful, where you validate your success. So see that movie of you winning, or whatever you are doing, like whatever the opposite of your shadow is. Imagine that you had that. You already had that from the beginning, but you are not seeing that. You had a blind spot around it. So imagine, create this movie of yourself with all these things that you're doing in alignment with the opposite of your shadow, which is your light. So see yourself closer and closer. See everything that you did, like, see the people around you, loving on you, appreciating you. When you did these three things, and see yourself doing that, and name this person as your name. If it's Abhay, if it's Dr. V, if it is Nikki, if it's somebody else, name this person and say, you know what? I am successful. I am extremely successful. I am extremely skillful. I am the Lisa of ultimate skill sets. And build a declaration. Add this word into your declaration statement. For example, in my case, it was hypocrite, right? So you change that to genuine. So I am Ruble Chandy of genuineness, love, passion, success, and victory. And give yourself permission today to add the opposite of your shadow into your identity. And I'll be doing a detailed live intervention in the Friday call as well. When you do that, this by itself will literally rewrite your destiny. Because you, all this time, last 30, 40 years, you have been running behind so many things in order for you to avoid this super shadow or that shadow. Today, it becomes the opposite becomes your identity. Then there is no need for shadow, because where there is light, there is no need for darkness. Okay, do it again. Take this image again. Take this video again. If you cannot see in video, imagine, like, see it as images, or write down if you need to. Write down the 3 images or 3 videos of you being the opposite of this shadow. If a hypocrite is your shadow, then 3 situations where you are totally genuine. If hater is your shadow, then 3 situations where you're totally loving. See yourself being excited, being happy, being thrilled, and people loving on you. And zoom it closer and closer and closer. See it larger than life and experience it larger than life, and allow yourself to be integrated into this identity. This is a new you. This is a new you. And one more time, one final time, do it again. See the movie of you being the opposite of this shadow, and bring it to your memory. Bring you being the opposite of the shadow, and see it again and again and again. Bring it closer, make it brighter, make it even more colorful, make it more exciting. Make it like a celebration where you are being celebrated with this new identity, where you're going to lead the world in your own market space. And that's when you became aligned. You don't need to be perfectly aligned. You could be moderately aligned, and you will still do magnificent things, right? And that's what we're talking about. At this point, you become the Ferrari at 265 miles per hour. You're going to build a habit, what I call as power ceremony every day in the morning. So one of the assignments for today is design the first 30 minutes of your day to reflect your next 10 years of your life. So the first 30 minutes when you wake up, make sure that they reflect the next 10 years of your life, right? So what do you do the first 15 to 16 minutes of your morning? That's going to determine who you're going to become once you're aligned, especially. So design your power ceremony and share it with the Facebook group. That's your assignment. So I have given you my example. I wake up at 5:30, half liter of water, take my supplements. I do my power moves. I'll talk about that in a future session. I'll come back, make a green smoothie. I'll meditate for 10 minutes, and my phone will be on airplane mode until all of this is done. That's my power ceremony. Here's a summary for week 1. Only 20% of the things in business goes the way you planned. Rest of them are your biggest teachers. There is no failure in business. Soul model number 4, your self-alignment is the #1 key to creating the biggest impact in the world. Yeah. And soul model number 5, one of the biggest forces in human psychology is to be consistent with how they define themselves, their identity. That's what we redefined today. Soul model number 6, God's plan, universe plan for you is much far beyond your wildest dream. Let me say that again. God's plan for you is far beyond your wildest dreams. And your mind is a process that controls the flow of information and energy. And most of the time, because of this fried brains playing, we are in misalignment. And once all these brain are in play with each other, we are aligned, then you become the Ferrari in your business. That could stand out and go on 265 miles per hour and still be okay without crashing. So assignment for today is simple. Kickstart the habit. First 30 minutes is the most important thing that you would be doing. Kickstart that habit. We'll start building on this habit, but kickstart that. Even if it's not perfect, even if it's walking inside your house, design that power ceremony and then create in a document, share it in the Facebook group, and recreate your identity declaration with a new identity, new words that you added, and start saying that while you're doing the power ceremony. And finally, use one idea from here today on your business or your life in the next 24 hours. All right, so those are your assignments for today, and that is week number 1, session number 1, week number 1 of Accelerator online training.